Why isn't endometriosis classified as a cancer yet?
Glad we got your attention. I'm going to talk and then I'm going to put the video and the full clip of what he's saying afterwards so that you can put what I'm saying into context with what he's saying. And I hope that it helps. Let me know. It's something I'm trying out. Oh, hey, flowers, petals, herbs, and spices. I'm not a medical doctor. However, I am an herbalist, and my name is Sojay Ashaya. And I was just watching this video, and I'm watching this doctor talk about how he went to a seminar and he's watching PowerPoints and information on endometriosis and how basically they were telling him, like, and his colleagues saying, if people come into your ER, and they're complaining about pain and they have endometriosis, stop trying to make them prove that they have pain and stop sending them away. Like, give them the ketamine, which is a pain medication. So then he goes on to say that why isn't endometriosis characterized as a cancer yet? I'm watching this. Follow me now. I'm watching this and I'm like, exactly. And then I thought about it. My experience with endometriosis and my research is what made me instantly say, exactly. But then for someone who doesn't have endometriosis, have never heard of it, doesn't even know what it is, they're like, how does cancer, like, what does cancer have to do with endometriosis? And then this is where I was starting to think about it. Like, sometimes I feel like I don't know where to start. I don't know how my experiences is helpful. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know if I should just tell what happened to me and then that is entertaining, or not like entertaining, but like maybe you can learn something from it. And I had an aha moment. So how I know what he's talking about, and maybe that's what I can start doing. And you guys let me know if you're cool with that. Me explaining what these doctors mean, because I just kind of understand the vocabulary. I did not go to med school, so this is not legal medical advice. I'm not allowed to do that, but I am allowed to educate and talk. So let's just start there. When he said that, so one time I was in high school, we were talking about cancer, and one of my little brothers was like, but what is cancer? And I said, well, cancer is not a foreign thing in your body killing you. It's your own body producing cells. And they're like, what's that? So then my papa was like, well, boo, I don't know, that's a little bit advanced. I said, well, let me try to figure it out. So I said, you know how water goes into the sink? And they're like, yeah. I said, well, the sink is waterproof, so it's okay for the water to go into the sink. And then the sink has space for the water to go inside of it. They were like, yeah. And I'm like, well, that's kind of like cells. Cells have a certain space and each cell belongs where it belongs. So your heart cells belong where the heart is. Your liver cells belong in your liver cells. Your vagina cells belong where your vagina is. And what happens is that it's almost like the faucet is on and you have the stopper in and then you leave. And they were like, oh no. I said, why did you say, oh no? I said, what happens when you leave the water on and the water just keeps going and going and going? And they were like, it gets all over the floor. So the problem is not the cells being created, because cells are supposed to split. They're supposed to multiply. They're supposed to divide. They're supposed to replenish what you deplete as you go through your day. They're supposed to, if you get a cut, they're supposed to bond together. They're supposed to blah, 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 to build up your skin and stuff, right? But the problem with cancer cells is that the cells get greedy. They start replicating all the time, all the time, all the time. And then it overflows, and that's what it becomes a problem. It overflows into the areas it's not supposed to. It gets bigger than it's supposed to. It's just taking over. Kind of like the movie, the cartoon, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. How at first it was really, really cute, but then it was too much food. And then like the mass kept absorbing more and more and more and more. Or in like Ghostbusters, when like the monster just kept absorbing more and more things and get stuck in it, it just keeps growing. So that is what we call malignant, which means it's a problem, tumors. It starts taking over everything else. So when he said that endometriosis is like cancer, because once you starve what it's absorbing, like what it likes to grow, like plants with the sun and water and stuff, once you starve it from what it likes to grow, like if you take the sunlight away from a plant, it might shrivel up and die. If you take the water away from the plant, it might shrivel up and die. But the problem with endometriosis is that they understand that once you take estrogen and hormones away from the growths, they still can go, you took my source away, I'll create my own. Da, 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 da. That's how cancers work. Cancers drive themselves. They drive themselves. That's why they give chemo. That's why they have to kill the whole system. And they have to just stop you from making cells. They have to just give you things to like knock out everything, like radiation. Because they're like, well, we might kill the good cells, but we'll get the bad ones. So with endometriosis, all they know to do is just take it out. Take everything, which usually are your organs. That's what he's talking about in the video. But then he's also talking about how I always was thinking that it's like an autoimmune disease because your body is attacking itself, right? But maybe that's not exactly right. Maybe he is closer to what it's actually like, because with autoimmune diseases, your body is thinking that you are the enemy and it attacks you as if like you're a germ or a stranger, like a robber trying to get you out of there. But cancer is really more accurate because cancers have their own brains and they do what they want to do. So it can start in your ovaries and then it can move to somewhere else. So like endometriosis can be found in your kidneys. It can be found in your bladder, in your urethra, inside the straw that your pee comes out. And it can fuse your organs together. It can be found in your lungs. It can be found down your legs. It can cause nerve pain. So endometriosis is not just, oh, she has a growth, her periods are terrible. No, it's a hormonal fed thing that grows, and you can have a tiny little speck and it's in the wrong spot and it'll cause mayhem. And that's my experience. I've had surgeries to remove it. I've been prescribed birth control. I've even been prescribed the chemo class of a drug, Lupron. I was given Lupron because they found out in the 80s that you can use it to treat prostate cancer. And after, sorry, I just got a text message and it just threw me off a little bit. When they found out, like, hey, we can give this to extreme cases of people with endometriosis, but extreme cases because the side effects are osteoporosis, which is your bones getting more hollow, and we'll talk about that another day. But yeah, so just sometimes don't think that your experiences don't count and that they don't matter. They make a lot of sense, but you have to learn where to put your information, and maybe that's what I'll start doing. I'll try to start like share my experiences and then what I learned from those experiences so that we can all be on the same page and then we can learn together. All right, peace.
Why isn't endometriosis classified as a cancer yet? Okay, I don't know why it's not, but like really why? See, I was doing this e-learning recently, which is basically about endometriosis and pain relief in the ED. 30-slide presentation that basically boils down to don't be an asshole, give Kate the ketamine. But near the end, there was one piece of information in there that made me go like, see, how endometriosis is treated is basically by regulating the amount of estrogen in one's body or the effect of it in one's body. Basically everything from the hormonal pill, the Mirena coil, the menopause pill, and the operation known as total hysterectomy and bilateral salpingo oophorectomy, where basically a surgeon goes in and scoops out all the business ends of your female reproductive system while hopefully leaving the fun bits inside. The aim of all that is basically because endometriosis is so dependent on estrogen for it to proliferate and work and cause trouble, is that without it, it will eventually die off. But here it gets ugly. You see, apparently sometimes what endometriosis does it, oh, hey, where's all the estrogen I need? Where's the estrogen? Oh, you got rid of it? Well, guess what? I'm going to start making my own with blackjack and hooker. Normal endometrial tissue doesn't do that. It doesn't just start making its own estrogen. That's the ovary's job. What the hell? Because in those individuals in whom it does start producing its own estrogen, it can start the whole cycle all over again and become self-sufficient. And, well, why isn't it classified as cancer yet? Why? I know why, but why?